You are about to listen to the Neverdaily podcast.
This is the biggest thing since the Zapruder film.
So many questions.
I don't have any answers.
But please don't stop listening
to the Neverdaily podcast.
Welcome to the Neverdaily podcast. We've been sitting here since last time.
Yep. Feels like it.
So grateful just kind of ran out. It's been like 4 or 5 days. That was a lot of time to sit here and stare into each other's glass covered eyes.
How you been, buddy?
I have been so good.
Good. And then we don't need to go any further than that.
Nope. No. Where Neverdaily podcast, where everyone has heard the word shoehorn, but most people have never used one. I was just
Great
finishing
intro.
up my script. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Anyway, do you think it's weird that somewhere down the line, every single raisin that is sitting in a box somewhere has a grape grandmother that they've never really met? Oof. Grape grandmother.
Yeah, I was tracking. Yeah, because raisins are dried grapes. Yeah.
Yeah, humiliated. It's humiliated grapes.
Isn't it wild how raisins don't taste anything like grapes?
It is wild. Let's think of other foods that don't taste like the food they are. Chicken nuggets don't taste like chicken.
They do not. Yeah.
That's because they're more akin to toothpaste than chicken as far as
any kind of flavoring doesn't taste like blueberry, cherry, lime.
Never.
Like none of that stuff doesn't taste anything like the fruit that it's gallivanting around as.
It's so common that the flavorings don't taste like what they do supposed to taste like, that when a flavoring busts onto the scene that does taste like it, it hits you weird and you're like, what? And case in point, have you ever had a grape high chew?
I have not. Never even heard of it. No.
They're like Mambas. You know Mambas?
Mm.
The little fruit toffees.
Nope.
Do you know any chewy fruit candies?
Like maybe Laffy Taffies.
Yes. Take Laffy Taffy, put it into little squares, and make the flavor more accurate to the fruit product.
Okay.
Grape high chews taste like Concord grapes. I don't know how they do it. The rest of theirs don't really taste like what they're supposed to. Apple, maybe a little, but who likes apple? I do, but nobody else seems
I love
to.
apple.
Me too.
I think
actually.
what it is we've gotten so akin to being spoiled as Americans. Even our taste glands have to have, like, what it is like the true taste of grape or apple, or not really orange. Orange is a strong taste, but like it's not as much of a punch in the face as flavoring is. That's
right.
Like, it's more gentle. Like if something, like to get the flavoring of anything in reality, you soak it. Like say you soak an apple in water for a day, then you drink that water. That's apple flavoring, right? But they take apple flavoring and they amp it up 1,000 times, and now it's just like getting kicked in the face with a fucking golf shoe every time you take a bite of whatever it is.
Exactly.
Did anything I just said make sense?
Yeah, the golf shoe part, because I relate with golf analogies.
Yeah.
Here's a weird one, and this is I don't know if this is just very American or if the rest of the world kind of relates with this, but you know V8 Splash, that fruit juice that V8 makes? Fruit juice, Berry Blend, and all those. Mm-hmm. So that's just one of a whole litany of fruit juices that claim to be a thing, like Berry Blast, right?
Yeah.
V8 Splash Berry Blast. Guess what? One of the highest, the largest by quantity, one of the largest ingredients in a lot of fruit juices that like berry or any other flavor. The majority of the fruit juice is pear juice.
Oh, and I've went on tirades before about my hatred of pears. It's just
Right?
compact sand dirt fruit.
Yeah.
Just really like chewing on shredded sandpaper with a
Yep.
little bit of apple flavoring. That's what a pear is.
And it's weird because the if the fruit juice says, certain things, like, I don't want to say it's like not made from, does not contain fruit juice or anything like that. Not those necessarily, but the ones where they break down the nutritional, the nutritional label. You'll find pear juice on a lot of the cheaper fruit drinks. You'll find pear juice on the top of the list as far.
Wow.
Also, fun fact to know, share, did you notice that when you read a nutritional label and it tells you the ingredients that are in that, do you know it starts from the most high in quantity down to the least? So you're guaranteed when you start reading the ingredients in something, if it says water, it has the most percentage of water compared to all the other ingredients. And then as it reads down, the last thing on the list is the least amount, percentage of that substance. All the things. I should get back. I got to brush up on my Fun Facts to Know and Share podcast.
If they did an ingredient list of your body, what do you think would be the first thing listed? How much of it would be candy?
Oh, candy!
I've spent a lot of time with you in person, and you really do enjoy candy.
Yeah, I'm picky, but yes, no, I have a problem because I'll go into a gas station and look, and I'll be like, you know what, a Milky Way sounds good. Where's the one that's like Milky Way plus 4 bars in a pack, 2 for $7?
Yeah, and then you bump into a black guy in the aisle, and you gotta
like,
hug
hey,
him
Milky Way
6 times and make him uncomfortable before you leave. I've been in a gas station with you before, and when I walked in, I realized it was a black gas station. I was horrified because I realized we were never going to get out of there, and we almost didn't. We almost didn't because you have to have all the black people in your vicinity like you, or you feel racist when you walk away for some reason. So you're just hugging and making all the African American people there uncomfortable. They're like, what is the deal with this cracker on this scooter? Because you rolled in on a scooter, which is the widest way, arguably, to roll up onto any location is on a scooter. And then you're on top of that, you're Mormon, and it's 1 a.m. in a gas station in the ghetto of Indianapolis, and you're trying to talk about, Little Rascals. I don't know.
It's totally. But I make a lot of friends, and you've seen that happen. Like yes, I will hug a black man in the candy aisle, and I'll be like, "Your new name is Milky Wayne." What?
Milky Wayne?
Like, Milky Wayne, because I'm looking for the package with a lot of chocolate in it, and you're that. Milky Wayne.
And I bought a 24-pack of beer, and I was also on a scooter, and then I had to ride past police officers standing on a 24-pack because there's not room on a scooter, so I put it on the floorboard of the scooter and then stood on top of the 24-pack, riding the scooter back to the hotel in Indianapolis.
It was like, we looked so dumb. We both had, both of our handlebars had multiple gas station bags on it full of ridiculous food. And then on top of it, yes, you've propped, what was that, a 12-pack?
I think it was either a 16 or a 24-pack.
It was a big box, and there was nowhere, like you said, so you put it on the floorboard, and then you're on top of it. And they were speeding around town. We were like Fat and Furious,
Yeah. It wasn't even that furious.
No, it was just a lot.
Fat and slightly agitated.
Yeah, it was, and also questions on our equilibrium too, because it was a lot of balance.
You almost got hit by a car.
I didn't even know it till afterward. They were very polite about not like letting me know that I almost got hit by them, though, and I appreciate that.
You couldn't see. I mean, they had their windows up. I saw, and they weren't appreciative of you pulling in front of them, judging by their sign language.
But let's be honest, par for the course, my ability to read the room, low.
Yeah.
So,
just like Jess's ability to write a read for the room.
we're like those monkey see, no monkey here, do. The icons where one's got all the hands on the. Each of us has our own thing. We're each our own little special snowflake.
That was an inside joke. I'll let everybody know. Jess is notoriously a bad speller.
Which is crazy because she's the one with the corporate job.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny when she Marcos us from the car and she's headed into work, because have you ever seen how ladies in the FBI wear their hair? How like you can, it sounds like they're tightening cables. She pulls her hair back into that rock hard bun behind her. And
makes their eyes look like Edgar from Men in Black.
Yeah.
They've pulled it back so far. There, is that better?
And she's got that little lanyard on and like, the scary like pantsuit. And she's like, I'm heading into work. And we're like, man, there she goes again. But no one knows it, but she has like a switchblade in her bun. Not buns, the bun in her hair. Anyway.
Jess could be like 65 years old and we wouldn't even know it because her hair's pulls back on her face and makes her look youthful.
Yeah, she looks very youthful. There's signs. You can see the wisdom in her eyes, like she's been alive for too many generations. So sort of like one of the vampires on Starlight Movie Express, whatever that shiny show is called. Twilight.
Twilight?
Yeah. My analogies are not hitting today. So, You know what? Let's see what's on the other side of this chapter of the show. Kent, what did you bring today?
I bring the story of a very unlucky man named Henry Gunther.
Okay. Go.
Okay. So, man fought in World War I, and we know World War I went from 1914 through the end of 1918. 20 million civilians and military personnel died during World War I, and that's probably too many.
Especially for a war where if you asked anybody not only if you went to somebody and said, hey, why did World War I happen? They'd say, I don't really know. And then if you read the Wikipedia on how World War I happened, you walk away going, I still don't get it.
Yeah, Wikipedia doesn't either. Why did World War I happen?
Okay. Long story short.
Like, what are they saying? Short. What are they saying around you down there? About
there was a leader of a country who got gunned down in the streets. King Ferdinand smoked him in the streets by some. That's what kicked it off. Basically, Ferdinand got shot. His wife got shot. They were in one of those open, Ford Model T 250s from the day, and somebody killed him.
Yeah,
it was. And then countries were allies, and then they were like, we're not allies anymore, and they were secretly allying with other people, and everybody was pointing their fingers at everybody else, and before you know it, World War I. And that's about as clear as it gets.
That didn't tell me nothing.
Nope.
Anyways, after 4 years of death and destruction and chaos and cannonballs and machine guns and blood and guts, an armistice was signed on November 11th, 1918. And an armistice is basically both ends going, all right, Jesus, that's enough. Yeah. And they're like, we agree to not kill each other anymore. And
is an armistice Is an armistice similar to like an armistice?
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the same
All right.
thing. Just an armistice is what is many considered the correct way to say it
Oh, I didn't know. I'll have
in
to
the
look that up.
South.
Okay. Weird.
So an armistice was
Yeah.
signed November 11th, 1918, ending the World War I, the World of Wars One, where the wars of the world of
It was
one,
also called the Great
First World
War.
War, the Great War, the best war.
The Great War, because they didn't know there was multiples to come, so they just called it the Great War back in the day.
Imagine being an alien, like your first visit was during a world war, and how you would walk away like these people are very grumpy.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't know
Imagine
that we're in the middle of a world war, and that's not how we are all the time.
Or what if they rolled up on one of the older wars, like the Revolutionary War, and they're just like, hang on, why are they all standing in a line? And why are they wearing red and white?
And why is that little boy playing that metal thing?
Totally giving away his position. And then the one guy like, hey, look at my flag, I'm right here.
They're so bad at camouflage.
Let's go home. And they're just like,
they took Reginald III from Virginia with them. He's like, hey, you colored lizard people. It's not so much that they was aliens, it's that they was green.
Stuck on the color. That's fun.
I didn't care that their tongue was split at the end and they flicked it every 3 seconds. It was their loud music that they played on the spaceship. So on November 11th, 1918, they signed that agreement, that armistice.
Yeah, he's
at
still
around
saying it.
5 a.m. that morning. But the armistice didn't officially go into effect until 11 a.m. So they signed it at 5. There was a 6-hour window there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a 6-hour window for the armistice agreement to make it to the front lines, which 6 hours, a lot of people can die in 6 hours.
Yep.
I mean, you could put me in a room with probably 1,000 babies and said, you got 6 hours. And I guarantee you I could kill all those babies in 6 hours, 1,000 babies in 6 hours just by myself.
That's pretty hard to do.
So when you have millions of men trying to kill each other in 6 hours, that's a lot of death.
Yeah.
That's a lot of death. And this is where where the story comes to Henry Gunther. And Henry Gunther's time there in the trenches during World War I was bad luck, even by trench standards. Now, I don't know if you've heard about trench warfare during World War I. It was a horrendous place to live. A lot of them were eaten up with body loss, starvation. Some of them had to eat rats. There was mud foot, trench foot, they call it. Your feet basically start rotting off your body because they're wet in mud from the day you got to the trenches to the day you left, with no means of keeping them clean, dry, or sanitary. It's a horrible place the trenches were.
Jeez. It's terrible.
I mean, the only people that can even remotely maybe relate to trench warfare in World War I is Antifa.
The only reason they can relate to it is because they just got up from their desks playing games.
I'm just going off how they feel.
Okay, yeah, I digress then. Yeah.
So Henry Gunther, he was a Baltimore native. For his first the first domino in his string of bad luck came when he was demoted from a sergeant to a private after military censors read one of the letters that he wrote to a friend where he was complaining about the war and urging his buddy not to enlist. So we sent a letter from the front lines to one of his buddies back home in Baltimore, said, do not enlist. This is terrible. And he got demoted from sergeant back down to private for that letter.
Oh. Well, in a way, yeah, that does smack of, I don't know if treason would be the right word, but I don't know what you call that.
Well, I mean, this is still something that is put into effect today. It's called operational security. And you have to be very aware of what you're writing online in private messaging and in letters back home. This can still get you in trouble today in 2023. Yeah. But
yeah, in a way it's being a conscientious objector, which they're probably like, hey, you can be that, but then also kind of stumping for others to be, which would probably not be looked favorably upon.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, so he got demoted when his fiance back in Baltimore, back home, found out that he had been demoted from sergeant to private. She called off their engagement.
Ooh.
So he just lost his rank. Because he lost his rank, he lost his fiance. And then because he lost his rank, he was given the role of a runner, which is the guy that has to run messages back and forth between units on the battlefield. And that's not a good gig. The runner.
Yeah.
It's not the job you want in World War I trench warfare. You're basically the gopher, the up. I'm up, they see me, I'm down. I'm up, they see me, I'm down. Okay, I made it to the other trench. Hey, Captain Ballswad is wanting to know if you have any creamer for his coffee.
Gross. He does. I already know.
And it was trench creamer. In the waning days of World War I, of the conflict, our poor, I don't want to say hero here, but Mr. Gunther, he's stationed in France. And that's when the word of the armistice reached his squad and the German machine gun nests that were on a hilltop nearby. There were, however, still 16 minutes until the war was officially declared over. So they knew, hey, we've got 16 minutes to get this fight out. If we've got any fight left in us, we might as well go ahead and throw down. And then at 10:58 a.m., 2 minutes from the war being officially over, and they know it, German machine gun positions start ringing out, just firing what ammo they had left. Now, the details of exactly what happened are a little foggy. In some accounts, U.S. troops were ambushed by German machine gun fire, and others, the Germans were simply firing warning shots to kind of signify the end of the war. But whatever the reason that they did so, with 2 minutes remaining in the war, and everybody knowing that the war is ending at 11 a.m., at 10:58 a.m., Gunther decided to charge one of the machine gun nests. As soldiers on both sides of the war, both the Germans and the Americans, begged him not to.
Both sides.
Yes.
Please don't do this. Please don't. And he's like, Leroy Jenkins.
That's what he did. And at 10:58 a.m., poor old Henry Gunther was gunned down by the Germans, making him the last American killed in the war in World War I.
Man.
His exact motivation for doing this stupid charge is not known today. We have no idea why. And I believe Henry Gunther will go down in history as the most unlucky bastard in World War I. He wasn't alone, though, although he was the last death of World War I on the American side. In that 6-hour window between, hey, we signed this armistice, the war is ending at 11 a.m. In that 6-hour window, 3,000 soldiers were killed.
Really? In that. Well, yeah. Could you imagine the ticker? Like if you had a ticker that you were watching on the number of people dying.
Well, I think what it is if you ever watch UFC fights,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whenever they hear that tick, 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 they got 10 seconds left. Both fighters will be like, anything I got left in the gas tank, I better get it out now. So that's probably what happened. Like, hey, we got 6 hours and 10,000 rounds. And being as somebody who has a past in the military, I know that it's better to spend that ammunition than to have to carry it back. So it's like, I better fucking dump this into their faces if I've only got 6 hours, because it's going to be a long walk back to the to base, and my feet are muddy, and I've got 1,000 rounds of 7.62. Looks like 1,000 rounds of 7.62 were going down range and maybe into somebody's living room window. And I'm joking about that part. They didn't have living rooms.
Jeez. Did you ever feel that way though? Like you're in a battle and you're just empty, and you're just emptying everything you've got, and then you get the message over your headset that's like, "Okay, lunchtime," and you're just like, "Gotta finish this up," and you just empty out the rest of the box. Did you ever do that?
No.
Yeah, that's the right thing to say. Good job, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, that was really interesting.
Yeah,
wait,
you have to say that.
Are you done? I didn't know if you were.
I'm done. Henry Gunther, the most unlucky man in World War I. The world wars won.
Yep, the Great War. We'll just call it that.
What was your favorite war?
My favorite war. Well, I'm going to have to say I'm going to have to go with the Revolutionary War, because it a lot of people don't know this, because we live in a generation where everything is like microwave speed, like wars should end in 8 days, and that war went on for 13 years. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'll have to go back and read my book by David McCullough. But Revolutionary War would be it, because the ending to the war was sort of like one of those Hollywood movies where one army comes up over a hill and catches everybody eating breakfast on the other side, and they're all like, huh?
Yeah, it was a great series finale.
Yeah, it's a banger. George Washington's like, all right, guys, I think maybe we'll just take our boats and we'll go that way. And everyone's like, okay, and row your boat, Revolutionary War's over right now. It was the craziest ending.
Roll credit.
Exactly. Oh, it's crazy. Like 2 days before the ending, they're in camp, and some guy's like, we shouldn't be doing this. And George Washington's like, what's your name, soldier? And he's like, my name's Bill. And he's like, bam! Shoots him. Everybody get on a boat. We're ending this thing. And for more detail on that, look into a factual source.
In the history of the world, what would you say was your favorite genocide?
Gosh. Okay, I can answer this one. Just because it's mind-boggling.
Okay.
But Attila the Hun, his rage and reign was, we've talked about it before, but the scope of his domination changed everything.
He was really good at it.
You can't even touch it. I don't think there's anything on the earth that's ever touched. Like we talked about this, but the level of,
and who did Attila the Hun target?
Everybody.
Oh, So he was genociding the human race.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
like
it
that.
didn't matter.
Yeah.
He was just mowing people down. And the thing was, they were sort of like the Vikings, where they didn't do it to like, okay, now let's just farm. Let's stay right where we conquered and farm. No, it was sort of like a fast moving, like spore or something. They just like rolled over hills and mowed over people and humped all their ladies and just kept going. And before you know it, everybody's related to Attila the Hun. It's crazy.
What'd you bring today, Op?
I brought something cool.
We'll
This
see.
this one really deserves the cowboy poet, but I think I'll avoid it.
I think
know what?
everybody's
Here.
had enough of the cowboy poet, to be
Okay.
honest.
I'll read the first paragraph and then we'll make a decision, a democratized decision on cowboy poet.
You don't have
yes
to
or
read the
no.
first paragraph. No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll read the first paragraph anyway because I have to, and then I'll look at you guys and you guys can tell me you'll probably change your hearts and you'll be like, you know what?
Yeah,
he's right.
Oh, nope.
That's right. But here we go. In the 1880s, you might have heard, Kent, of Hazard, Kentucky.
Of course I have.
Yeah. Is that of course I have. Like, I should have heard of that, but I haven't.
I have heard of Hazard, Kentucky. Yes.
Okay. Was that where the Dukes of Hazzard were from?
No.
I don't know where that took place. Anyway, 1880s, it was less of a wild frontier town like many towns around there, and more of like a wildly disorganized neighborhood watch meeting. So it was dominated by a couple different clans. Now, don't get too scared. These were clans.
George Zimmerman clan.
The Eversole clan and the French clan. And it was a place where the most significant landmark was a brick courthouse. And the second most significant was probably Dave's Saloon, known for its half-price Tuesdays.
Fun fact, that's still the case.
Probably. All right, so the Eversole clan was led by a dude named Joseph Eversole, and he was sort of the town's unofficial royalty. And they were Union supporters during the Civil War, so that meant that their idea of guerrilla warfare was mostly involved hiding behind bushes and making boo sounds. Boo, hey, boo, gotcha, boo, like that. Yeah. They owned a general store, which was also the Republican headquarters, and were the most political. That general store was where they saw the most action, as far as like it kind of was like a vote, not a voting headquarters, but kind of a party headquarters of sorts. And everything kind of centered around that place. Everything was a committee decision, like what candy to put on the shelves, what sales to make. Everything was sort of a vote. Then there were the French clan, and they were led by Benjamin French. I know you were wondering if this was just a bunch of French people, but no, their last name was French. He was a lawyer with a penchant for dramatic entrances. Often he would be seen riding into town with a wind machine for maximum effect.
A wind machine? That's just a fan, right?
Yeah. Yep. He set up a rival store, which was also the Democratic Party headquarters, and was essentially the same as the Eversole store, but with more blue banners, basically.
Yeah, hashtags.
Yeah. Plans. Tensions began between the two, but these tensions were not like Game of Thrones level tensions. They were more like schoolyard squabble kind of tensions, especially when Benjamin began making deals with the coal company, which in reality was just his cousin Bob with the shovel down at the coal mound. The epic feud, though, began over a love triangle, believe it or not, involving a woman named Thelma. Who gets in a love triangle over a woman named Thelma? Well, I'll tell you what, these guys did. And she was an employee at French's store. And they also had a part of the triangle was Thomas Watkins, who was her fiance.
Mm.
Now, you're like, that's not a triangle, that's a line. Two people with a thing between it is a line. You need another person. And that other person was Benjamin. And one day, Thomas found Benjamin giving Thelma an extra scoop of ice cream.
Oh, fuck.
If you know what I mean. And, well, things, they escalated. Soon, both of the clans were, quote, preparing for war, which mostly meant wearing their fanciest hats and
throwing rocks,
marching around town. Yeah. Eversoul clan, they teamed up with a local militia because the clan itself was sort of like the equivalent today of like a bunch of mathletes getting mad about something and then having to go find a team of bullies to do their dirty work. But in this case, the pickings were slim, so they got a team of a group of kids with sticks made out of swords made out of sticks. So this all came to a head, much like World War I or the Great War. The French clan, in a stroke of genius, decided to set the Eversoul's base, the courthouse, on fire, but not before evacuating all the important documents and Dave's half-price Tuesday whiskey stash. What's crazy is that's about it. It was not the Hatfields and McCoys, but it's the most crazy thing that happened in town in the history, but with the exception of years later, in a twist that could only happen in Hazard. Benjamin French met his end at the hands of Joseph Eversoul's widow's son. The crime was disturbing the peace, and more importantly, ruining a perfectly good pair of shoes. So, like, I'm struggling to, it feels like a Monty Python skit, how this clash of clans took place and ended. But people lost their lives over really dumb things. Scoops of ice cream, yelling too loud in town, and
did you ever play Clash of Clans?
This episode is brought to you by Clash of Clans. If you like mysteries from the 1930s with crime and drama and mobs, and if you like deeply forested woods, you will love Clash of Clans.
So you did
What's behind Janelle's dress? Find out in Clash of Clans, Chapter 6.
I'm just saying, I almost went broke in 2012.
If you like side scroller action, check out Clash of Clans. If you liked Metroid, basically Clash of Clans.
I don't know.
Right?
I disagree with that. No, not the same. I do want to make a spin-off of it called Clash of Ku Klux Klans.
Where it's different orders just fighting each other. And
no, you have to... You are a black family in the South in the 20s, and the Klan are trying to get into your house, and you have to make fun little traps and stuff around your house to keep them out. And you've got to mine like diamonds to save up to get like maybe alligator pits, and they throw bricks through your windows, and you can get 2x4s and put them over your windows if you have diamonds, and we'll make the little Klansmen cute. They'll walk funny and
talk funny,
and then there's like a mega Klansman after you beat the first level.
The final boss.
He's the Grand Wizard. He's in red.
But he's just like a giant hood with like little tiny shoes underneath it. Like
so he's got a little dick. We know he's got a little bitty dick.
At the beginning of the game,
down.
They say it's a 2-player, like you can choose your team when you go. So it's like be the Black family or be the Klan, but it's like that one meme that was like it was a Britney Spears nudes, and you go to click on it and the button moves, and you just sit there trying to click on Britney Spears nudes, and it just keeps dancing around. So you can't be the Klan. Actually, they won't let you. The game won't let.
No, you can't be the Klan. You're fighting against. We've got morals. But like one of the weapons you can buy is you can put a goat in your front yard and they can't resist not fucking it. So it buys you time to build your defenses.
Where do you end up going? Like, what's the end game?
You just end up killing all the Ku Klux Klan, but it's called Clash of Ku Klux Klans.
I like it.
And it's basically Clash of Clans, but there's a history aspect to it. And I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it would sell in today's market.
We could do another one called School Shooper, which is sort of a dance revolution. And it's you bust into a school and you do it. You based on the dance moves you do, how many school kids you can attract to your flash mob dance routine.
Yeah.
School Shooper.
Yeah.
Man, I see 1159 making a gaming company soon. Ooh, did you see Jess's eyes flare up? Like, oh,
that would be a lot of fun making a gaming company that makes just problematic games. Just the school shooter game. You're not the shooter. That would be horrible, but you have to stop the school shooter. And every time he executes a child, the game goes, meh. You just get a sound bite.
No, what it is this. It's a mystery game, and it's called Lunch Lady. And it's a first person, and you just see your hands in front of you. You know, those games? Like those. And you have to figure out which, it's sort of like that one where everyone's sus about who the mean person is. What's that game? Yeah, the school shooter, but all the kids look like the school shooter. So you have to figure out which one is actually the school shooter.
Yeah, and you have to execute them in the classroom.
Yeah, but the game, they're like, dun-na-na-na-na-na. Dun-na-na-na-na-na.
Like Clue.
Dun-na-na-na-na-na. It
was Landon in the library with the AK-47.
Yeah. I think we might have to rework some of these titles before we submit them to ourselves for review. Anyway, 42 minutes in.
It'd also be fun if they had a way to...
Yeah. What?
Like, hey, let's fly a drone, and it would take the efforts of Ukraine, but we could let kids fly those bomb-dropping drones in Ukraine on the Russians. Like...
It's real. It's real. All these kids just smoking Russia. And they think it's okay. That's not a bad idea. We just democratize the bombing of a country by letting kids join the game through Nintendo Switch or Steam. That's fun. Jess, have you ever played any video games? Like, is there a video game that you're like, yeah, actually I played that before?
Yes.
Okay. What game would that be?
I've played a lot of Mario Kart in my life.
How long ago was the last time you played Mario Kart?
A few weeks.
Okay.
I have a 9-year-old. I have a 9-year-old
play it
son.
with him. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Mario Kart, but you're at the Charlotte riots.
Chase, have you ever played any video games?
Yeah, I grew up playing video games, but I mostly play a lot of first-person shooters.
Yeah, that's my first-person shooters are my jam. I don't. Here's what's weird. Wait, first, before I take over the conversation, since I asked you, what's your favorite first-person shooter?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say Halo.
I was going to say Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, not really a Call of Duty person. I'm more of a Halo person.
Really? That's interesting.
I know. I'm the weird one.
Well, no, I used to have those network gaming parties where we would all be in different rooms in the house and we would play Halo. What was weird was you play Halo and then you go to a game like Call of Duty or another game and it moves so much faster, that you go back to Halo and you feel like you're walking in syrup.
That's why I always felt with Battlefield. Battlefield felt super slow and boring to me because of how fast-paced Call of Duty was.
Yeah.
And Jess shaking her head. She knows what I'm talking about.
She's like, you guys have never eaten a mushroom and then played Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And then eaten a mushroom in the game.
Yeah. In her head, before she even turned on the game system, she hears
It's a one player, Billy. Leave mommy alone. Okay, Chase, here's another question. When was the last time you played Halo?
Here's a weirder question than that.
2 days ago.
Time you played with yourself.
What? Why?
Also, 2 days ago.
While playing Halo.
No, I actually just downloaded the Master Chief collection onto my Xbox, and I had a dream about playing Halo 3 nights ago, and so I was like, I need to play Halo, and so I played Halo I did a whole whopping 1 mission, and then called it quits.
What's the name of the AI entity?
Cortana.
And then that became the name of the helper in Windows too, right? It's like Windows 11, Cortana was your what can I help you with? And they recently just got rid of Cortana. They dumped her. Did you know that?
I'm part of the Mac cult, so I didn't even know.
Yeah. Well, I went to school through the Art Institute of Philadelphia for game art design and development. And the majority. No, I hated every moment of it because the first whole semester was designing and developing your own MMORPG, massive multi-online MMO, massive multiplayer online role-playing game. And so they gave us examples of some of the most popular are Korean MMORPGs. And so we had to play these games and then give feedback. And we're like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool how I got together with all my real friends and had a conversation in a courtyard of a park. And then there was a pink puffball that came and we had to attack it. It was weird. So odd. It's just so weird. Anyway.
I had a roommate when I was a teenager. We named him. We didn't name him. Everybody called him Butt.
So simple, yet so effective.
Like BUTT.
Yeah, I kind of figured it.
And the guy never had a job, but he always had money, and he always smoked pot. All he did was smoke pot and play World of Warcraft and play drums. But you guys probably knew that because his name was Butt. And Butt was for a long time, felt like my mascot, my sidekick, because he would just go everywhere with me and he never talked. Butt is the same guy I think I told you where I introduced him to a girl I was dating. And she said, "Hi, my name is Amy." And being Butt, said, "Hello, Amy. What's the difference in your mother and an apple?" And Amy said, I don't know. This is the first time he's ever met this girl. And Amy confusingly said, "I don't know." And Butt, straight face, said, "I don't know either, but your mother's a whore." And then he went back in his room.
Making friends. Wow. I knew a guy like that kind of. In Salt Lake, I went to visit my friend. He had a roommate, and the weirdest, his dude was so weird, but like worthy of a PBS documentary, this guy was. I met him like 2 or 3 times, never saw him leave the apartment. He played Tetris. And this will tell you, this is like on the level of doing crossword puzzles with a pen. He played Tetris with the left joystick just held downward. So he's just letting him go, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And he was the fastest guy I've ever seen at Tetris. He did he ate and slept, I think. And then when he was awake, he played Tetris, and he had a 3-axis CNC machine in the basement, and he had contracts where he would just like make these little tiny metal widgets, but they were like all custom. Like he was some wizard engineer, and that was his whole life, was like he had these special contracts where they'd be like, "We need this thing, we need to do this thing and that," and he would go down and he'd make things on his 3-axis CNC, polish it off. Hit my buddy, his job, this kid paid him to just take the CNC stuff, package it up, and take it down to the post office. So my buddy made side hustle money helping this guy out. And then when he wasn't CNCing, machining, he was just playing Tetris with he like just the thumb down. It was the most amazing thing to watch.
Was your butt very funny? Because my butt was like, he made me laugh so hard. He was like, just didn't give a fuck.
No.
And I loved the dude. I thought he was hilarious. And I actually caught up with Butt just about a week and a half ago after losing contact with him for about probably 12 years. And Butt is now successful. He has a good job, a wife and kids. And he's living in Virginia. And that was the wildest thing to me, because I called him Butt on Facebook. I was like, "Hey buddy, is this fucking Butt?" And he's like, "Haven't heard that in a while. It's Cody now." And it's like, "No, it's your Butt. Your Butt." He's like, "Yeah, I don't really play games much anymore, man. I just kind of work and I've got my kids." And no, you're Butt. You're supposed to not give a fuck. You're too good for this lifestyle of chasing the carrot until you die of old age. What happened, Butt? You're like anti-government and punk, and now you wear normal clothes and you go to a 9-to-5 and you've got a family.
He was disappointed. He thought he was doing so well until he realized everything he had given up by sacrificing his buttness.
But he was also hyper intelligent.
No, yes, and that's where my butt was. Hyper intelligent, like you know, when you watch Twilight, the look the Cullens give everybody else, that kind of like, we've been around for so long, and you silly mortal, kind of that look. But they're never like saying it. They're too smart to be outwardly smug. So it's just that look, like they could eat you at any time.
Yeah.
Also, they know everything. So he wasn't ever offensive, but he'd give you that look like whatever you say is just very, very quaint. And he wasn't mean, and I liked him. But yeah, no, I got that like frighteningly intelligent, wasn't looking to make a friend.
Yeah.
Maybe would make one just to eat them. I don't know. It's weird that we both have butts. I don't even know that guy's name, to be honest. I don't know his name.
Well, Butt
I wouldn't even know how to look
about
up.
Butt anymore. It's Cody. Just
I could probably
weird.
Maybe if I Google weird CNC widgets Salt Lake City, his mysterious company would show up. I don't know. I'll have to try it sometime. But right now, my favorite game is trying to keep 1159 Media alive. And that is hard to do when we end an episode this way. So I think we've run long in the tooth. If you have listened to this show, thank you for your support because you're probably on 1159 Plus. If for some reason you've stolen this show, pulled it from a torrent, or logged in through somebody else's account, shame on you. Damn you, actually, I would say. Damn you to hell. And find us on 1159plus.com because I just changed your heart. And you know it. Hugs, everybody.
Bye.